look at that. Apparently it's fake baby season in some American schools right now. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, some schools, those that can afford to do it, they will give students enrolled in sex education or a similar class, health, biology perhaps, they will get this fake baby, this infant simulator doll that they have to take care of for a certain period of time. And of course, the idea is they'll see how difficult it is to take care of a baby, and then they will not get pregnant. It'll prevent adolescent pregnancy, and then they won't have to go through the real experience. Now, in my day, we didn't have these fancy infant simulator dolls, and I'm sure many schools don't do this now, because I mean, I don't know, like if a school buys this, they might have to, they might get a discounted price. But if you just want to buy one of these to, try it with your child, maybe you're doing homeschool or something, if you want to try that, you got to fork out some money to get this doll. In my day, we had the egg, where you had to carry around an egg and not break the egg, or a bag of flour. Or some kids had just dolls, but not dolls that made noise and stuff, like they carry around Cabbage Patch dolls and stuff as part of their sex ed experience. But now we've got the fancy dolls, and I'm seeing quite a few videos pop up on my FYP where parents and students are showing their infant simulator dolls, and there's some funny videos of, I can't get it to stop crying, and lots of people in the comments going, now that's how you get them to stop having sex. That's how you get them to not get pregnant. Is it? Is it? Going into professor mode now. What does the research actually say on the use of infant simulator dolls? Well, some of the early evidence was sort of inconclusive, just showing minimal differences between those who had the doll experience versus those who didn't. And importantly, some of the early evidence, showing kind of these weaker pre and post sort of results, they were short term. They didn't follow anybody longitudinally. They just said, hey, you just went through this experience. What was it like? And so they would just, they would talk to the participants and say, hey, what are your intentions? And they did kind of have weak evidence for their effectiveness. And then in 2016, we have a study that not only showed sort of just weak evidence, but following participants longitudinally over time after high school, what we find is evidence that this works in the opposite direction of what we would intend. Not only do we see this not preventing teen pregnancy, we actually have evidence that those in the group that had the infant simulator doll experience were more likely to experience pregnancy or abortion. I think it was before age 20. And if you want to see this research discussed on a non-academic, non-scholarly site that's not likely to be behind a paywall, we do have this Popular Press article about the same research. And it does a nice, layman's term summary of what the research says. And so what it says is these programs, even though they would certainly be more effective than, carrying a bag of flour around or just having people tell you, don't do it, don't do it. It doesn't prevent teen pregnancy. And a pretty common theme in research on sex education and prevention of sexually transmitted infections and teen pregnancy, a pretty common theme is that scare tactics don't work. What does seem to work is comprehensive sexuality education, where we acknowledge the reality that teens are interested in the act, where we don't shame them for having those urges and those desires, and we talk realistically about things that they might have to face, like negotiating consent, negotiating use of things like condoms, talking about contraception, talking about what's available, more realistic, not fear-based tactics. And there's a whole line of research that I could summarize, you could look up. But the infant simulator dolls sounds cool. Not good for teen pregnancy prevention. What they might be good for is for those who are going to have a baby and who are nervous about it and they want to practice and they have access to one of these dolls. There is some evidence that they can be effective for that.